At UFC Fight Night 208, Paddy Pimblett made a lot of fans. It wasn't just what he did inside the Octagon, but how he used his platform after the fight too. So what did the young fighter do to earn respect from people ranging from Alexander Volkanovski to Jake Paul, and why does Michael Bisping doubt Paddy's big claims? Plus, what did Drake get Paddy the Baddy as a gift for his latest fight win? Stay tuned. If you ask anyone who the fan-favorite UFC fighter is these days, they'll probably say Paddy Pimblett. The 27-year-old has built up an impressive 19-3 record, but it's his Liverpool accent, personality, and excitement that is making him one of the most watched fighters on the UFC's roster. At UFC Fight Night 208 in London, he proved that he could adjust his style to any fighter. He tired his opponent Jordan Leavitt out before taking his opportunity on the ground and finishing with a rear naked choke. And what made the performance even more impressive was everything that was going on in his personal life at the time. The English crowd were happy, and after the fight, Pimblett sent an important message to the public. Most fighters use the interview as a chance to trash talk or build up their next fight, but Paddy did something special. He'd lost one of his close friends to suicide on the day of the weigh-in, so he decided to use the opportunity to make a plea to all men. He said, "There's a stigma in this world that men can't talk. Listen, if you're a man and you've got weight on your shoulders and think that the only way you can solve it is by killing yourself, please speak to someone. Speak to anyone." It was an emotional plea, and one that seemed to resonate with many young men. Mental health services across the United Kingdom noted a spike in men seeking help. Advocates for mental health have also thanked Pimblett for doing what he can to remove the stigma about men seeking help. Jake Paul used Paddy's latest victory to demand that the UFC deserves more money. Paul has been in a long-running feud with UFC President Dana White, and this was just the latest blow. In a tweet, Jake said, "Pay Paddy his millions now." But if Jake has a lot of respect for Paddy, the feeling is not mutual. Last year, when asked about a potential Jake-Paul matchup, he said, "He's a sausage. I'll fight him tomorrow." And both the Paul brothers seem to be fascinated by Paddy Pimblett at the moment. Jake's brother Logan has taken aim at Paddy Pimblett and called him out. Earlier this year, Logan Paul called out Pimblett on an episode of the MMA Hour. Paul said, "He could get up to 185 pounds, and I could get down to 185 for a UFC match. It's the only thing I don't know if I would win. He is a good A fighter, and I have never had an MMA fight." Logan is much bigger than Pimblett, but that doesn't seem to concern Paddy the Baddy at all. He responded to Logan by calling him a clout chaser and told him that he better be careful or they might really make the fight happen. Paddy said, "I'd effing snap his leg off him or knock him clean out." Pimblett is excited about the prospect of a Logan-Paul matchup. These days, crossover fights are becoming more and more common, and it seems that if fighters want to make some serious money, they have to fight celebrities. At the same time, it could be a ticket for Paddy to get a new level of fame and success. Coming up next, what gift did Drake promise Paddy if he won, and why did Michael Bisping think that the Liverpool lad has bitten off more than he can chew? So don't go anywhere. Paddy Pimblett wasn't the only one fighting out of Liverpool at UFC London. His fellow star, Molly McCann, is also a Liverpool local and put on a show to defeat Hannah Goldie in the very first round. It is a massive boost to her career, but there could be a gift coming in the mail for her and Paddy Pimblett very soon. For years, the so-called Drake curse was a popular idea that teams or athletes who were backed by the rapper Drake would lose their events, but this year, it has officially been debunked. Now it seems like Drake is on a roll. He put down over $2 million worth of Bitcoin on both Molly McCann and Paddy Pimblett to win their fights on the night, and boy did it pay off. And now the fighters themselves are going to taste some of the profits. Before the fight, Drake had promised a Rolex watch if they performed on the night, and after the fight, Paddy messaged Drake, and it was confirmed that they would both be getting a Rolex. McCann was humble in her victory and said that she definitely isn't living a lifestyle of the rich and famous. After her stunning spinning back elbow knockout, she said, "There was a lot more eyes on us to see if we were actually who we say we are. My girlfriend and I were washing our clothes and hoovering. We literally changed the world on Saturday, and it's back to normal on Monday morning. Maybe leave the housework for Tuesday and celebrate a little, Molly? You've earned it." It's natural that a massive personality like Paddy Pimblett is going to attract a loyal fan base. Many people traveled all the way from Liverpool to London just to support the young star, but his opponent Jordan Leavitt has said that some of that support was pretty negative. In an interview with MMA Holes, Leavitt described his experience in London. He said, "I expected hostility, and I got more hostility than I bargained for. I was very surprised by the negativity. They were all Paddy fanboys and everything, so it was more obnoxious as opposed to feeling cool." Leavitt said that the atmosphere and the fans felt artificial because Paddy has only fought 2 fights in the UFC, but it looks like we are seeing the same rise to fame that we saw with Conor McGregor. He has attracted passionate fans for his refreshing fighting and strong personality. Unfortunately for Leavitt, the crowd and Pimblett's skills were just too hard to overcome. He lost in the second round in what is only his second loss in his professional career. At just 27, Leavitt is still young and has a long road ahead of him, but he might go down in history as one of the fights that helped build Paddy into a global superstar. Another thing that Leavitt might have been surprised by was Paddy's diet. Pimblett is unusual in the UFC because he had some dramatic weight gains just because he's a self-described foodie. And former UFC champion TJ Dillashaw has said that he doesn't think it's a good strategy because then Paddy can't take fights on short notice. Paddy responded by calling Dillashaw a cheating juicehead. Next, a rising star. With all of this momentum that Pimblett has built up, it's only normal to have a little resistance. And one person that thinks Paddy's eyes might be bigger than his mouth is Michael Bisping. Bisping is a former UFC championship contender and had a long career in the sport, but he thinks that Paddy needs to adjust his expectations a little. After the UFC event in London, Pimblett said, "We will do Anfield, I promise you now." Dana said he won't do Anfield, but the baddies come along, so he will. Anfield is the famous football pitch that the Liverpool team play in and can seat up to 50,000 people, which is more than double what the O2 Arena in London could. But for Bisping, he doesn't think it's a realistic goal. In an episode of the Believe You Me podcast, he said, "If Conor McGregor never got his stadium show, I don't think Paddy is going to. Paddy's a great star, and who knows where he's going to go. He's huge, but McGregor's by far the biggest star in the sport." Bisping is right. McGregor's biggest audience was at the T-Mobile Arena when he fought Khabib Nurmagomedov, but while there were a record 2.4 million pay-per-view buys for the event, in attendance there was only 20,000. So unless Paddy is able to put on a bigger show than Khabib versus McGregor, his dream will remain a dream. But everything Paddy says seems to come true, so why should we start doubting him? He has everything that McGregor had, including no shortage of confidence. Do you think that Paddy could be bigger than Conor McGregor? And who would you like to see him fight next? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in the next one.